And in this halftime, where you step back and reflect, now what? Because you can see also time is ticking towards your retirement or the next session and the phase of your life. So, how then do you prepare for that transition and the period? What next from where you are? That is your halftime. So, what is you've come all the way since you graduated and you're from school in your career, and now you're coming to the culmination, or you've reached the apex of your career and you feel like there's more to it. You're coming from purpose to purpose, from purpose to significance. Yes, you're coming from purpose to significance. How then can I give back to the society? I have extracted so much from the society, and I feel it is time for me to go back and give to the society. At least that's what I took away from my session. What about your session? Where is my mic? Briefly, so that we can go quickly to the agenda of this afternoon. Just to get highlights from those sessions, we had also Dr. from Strathmore, the Vice Chancellor of Strathmore. Who are the people with Dr. Vincent? Yes, could we hear? What did you take? Very brief. Brevity is of essence. Quickly, quickly. Where's the mic? There's a behind there, Strathmore. Just lift your hands up so that they can see you and give you the mic. What did you take from that session?
From Dr. Ogutu's session.
Kindly give us your name. I can't see where you are. I can just hear. Where are you? Yes. Could you stand up so the others could see you, please?
So my name is Stanley Owade. I was in Dr. Ogutu's session. So what we talked about in that session was cultural transformations in African organizations. So I mean, what entails a culture in an organization? How do you effect cultural change in an organization? And how do you basically navigate some of the dynamics within trying to effect cultural change in an organization? So it was really nice. The professor talked, the Dr. Gutu talked about, the importance of values in building culture in an organization, talked about a little bit about the dynamics, especially when it relates to resistance to change. And one thing that I think really struck me was Dr. Gutu saying that change begins from a person themselves, then it comes outward. So you have to really change yourself.
Thank you. Thank you. Leveraging courage and reliability to build an African bank. Who are in that session? Leveraging courage and reliability to build an African bank. This was facilitated by Susan Banda, and we had Dr. Thompson Mpinganjira. Where are you? That session. Nana attended that session. Oh, they're still having lunch. The entire session with also the doctor and the speaker. Who are there? Oh, give it to Dr.
So I attended that session among a few others. My takeaway from it was the the importance of from the start, and I'm trying to use Dr. Pinkanjira's exact words, to succumb to corporate governance. He said you must succumb to corporate governance, especially when you are the majority owner. He said, and there will be some hot discussions. And he said, but for the good of the organization, especially if you want to leave a legacy, he said, you must submit to corporate governance.
Corporate governance, very key, very important. All right, then we had leading from the rare, influencing national transformation. Thus, we had also the speaker, our secretary to the cabinet, and Samuel Ayim was there as well. Who are there? We had Dr. Thuku there. We had Catherine Musekali as well.
All right, so this is Carol Kariuki.
Do you mind just standing up so that people can see you also from the rear? Because since you're talking about
my table mates are
leading
telling me to
from the
stand on a
rear.
chair. All right, so ours was about leading from the rear. And I think, if to summarize, I think I'll give you the 3 questions that we're asked to consider as we lead from the rear. So first, how effective are you in leading from the rear? And in asking yourself this, you need to ask yourself whether you're gaining respect or fear from your team leaders. Secondly, who is supporting you while you lead from the rear? Otherwise, you might find yourself, yes, just falling by the wayside. And then third, how agile is your leadership? Because then you need to have situational awareness to sometimes pivot and lead from the front, because once in a while it is necessary to do so. And for you to do that, you need to be bold.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. So we had also financial inclusivity for global prosperity. Who are the participants? That was, we had speaker Dave Sadat, I should say, and the facilitator was Anne Ngede.
Good afternoon. My name is Catherine. I attended the Financial Inclusivity for Global Prosperity, facilitated by Anyede and presented by Dave. We almost started a whole revolution in our group. I don't know who was there. We have a whole new agenda to take over Africa. The idea, though, is to address the barriers to inclusion, to look at what needs to be done concisely, precisely, deliberately, and intentionally in the African continent by the Africans, unafraid to change the narrative. We need to decolonize ourselves, how we believe about not just money, but the resources we have in Africa, so that we can be able to create a new dimension of access, not just to financial inclusivity and resources, but resources in themselves, which we are rich in. Thank you.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Lastly, we had corporate governance opportunities in Africa. And, this is for financial inclusivity also? You wanted to share on that. We had corporate governance opportunities in Africa, and the speaker, Charity Chandalumpa, board chair, BCA leadership, was a speaker there. Simon Kibe led that particular session. Participants from there.
So for that particular learning lab, corporate governance opportunities in Africa, we unpacked what corporate governance is and how it looks like, and the 10 key opportunities available in Africa. And in summary, our biggest takeout was application of the King 4 governance style when it comes to corporate governance that has 5 key principles, the acronym being ICRAF, which is integrity, leading with integrity, competence, responsibility, accountability, fairness, and transparency. Thank you very much, Madam Catherine, and our facilitator, Mr. Simon.
Fantastic. A round of applause. A round of applause for that. And basically, those were the sessions that we had in the breakout sessions today. And I know you gleaned a lot of information, rich repository of knowledge from our experts, from the experience as well, just coming through from where they began, where they are at the apex, and how the challenges they've navigated and some of the victories along the way they've scooped. And they will be able just to make you, of course, have a rear view and also a telescope of where you should be going, so that you might or avoid some of these pitfalls as well. Very, very important. All right, we're coming to a very solemn moment where we want to launch a book. And I know all of you are leaders. And they always say, leaders are readers. Leaders are... Okay. So let me ask someone randomly which book they are reading currently. It's to find out if they're they are reading any book, or maybe they just read the newspaper this morning, all right, because they want to keep abreast with, yes, I'll come to randomly, yeah? So which book are you reading currently?
Government inspector.
Government inspector. All right. So what are you gleaning from the government inspector?
A lot.
A lot from the government inspector. You didn't read that in high school. Maybe it just popped up because you knew I'm coming to you, right? She's reading it right now. Okay. Okay. I'm coming to this table. Don't think about it. Which book are you reading right now? It's a book called Laughter. Laughter.
It's a spiritual book.
It's a spiritual book. Save from the Bible. Which one is it?
No, no, it's not about the Bible. It's about the iniquities in our father's bloodline.
Ah, that's a deep one. Iniquities in our father's bloodline. Ah, let me come to Flora. Right? Don't tell me you're reading about tea.
I'm reading Oversubscribed by Daniel Priestley.
Oversubscribed by Daniel
Priestley.
Priestley. What is it all about?
It teaches you how whatever you launch or whatever you do, you're trying to put out there, how to build oversubscription so that you don't chase them, they chase you.
Ah, I thought maybe it's about the bonds now, which are really oversubscribed, but that's a very insightful book as well. Right, let me come to Sarah. Sally.
Okay, the book I'm reading is Leading Without a Title.
Leading without a title of, familiar, I forget the author.
It's by Robin Sharma.
Yeah, Robin Sharma, Robin Sharma. Let me come to Uganda and find out if they're reading the Daily Monitor today.
That too. But don't laugh. I'm reading The Wisdom of Menopause and how to embrace this beautiful period in a woman's life.
Very important. There is an order there already. Did you come with a copy? Right? Lastly, let me come. Which book are you reading?
I wanted her to tell us more.
Oh, you wanted to get more from the book. So, which book are you reading?
The Richest Man in Babylon by George Clarkson.
That's a classic book. Very small but rich in wisdom. Let me come to this table and come to Daktari straight. Don't be greatly shy. Which book are you reading?
Transitions. And I actually told Martin I'd hope to be in his group, but there was so much, by William Bridges. And the question is, when we transition, the question is, who are you passing value to? How are you continuing to contribute? Thank you.
A good post giver. Who are you passing value to? Who are you passing value to? All that you've gleaned along the way, how are you passing the baton so that you may have continuity? We may have the same excellence and, the panache that you've always had as a leader moving forward. And I think I can see, yes, our leaders are reading. Good. I just want to introduce a video that will act as a segue also to our discussion. We will just play it briefly. Do we have a video? Joy. I caught you off guard. Oh, we're supposed to have a video, right? Is it there? Okay. As they prep up, I'll just move on swiftly because of time as well. And this time I want to call upon the author of a book that we're about to launch this afternoon. And this is Leadership Made in Africa. You can see we have a lot of them. Make sure you grab a copy, each of you. This is the second series, Leadership Made in Africa, second edition, an anthology of leadership articles and perspectives for practitioners by Dr. Modupe Taylor Pierce, with contribution from Dr. David Thuku, Tio Nelapo, Ndlovu. We have also Nankonde Kasonde van den Broek and Dr. Domisani Magadlela. Why are you laughing? I did. It was a concoction there of a name. I hope. Forgive me if I did badly. But this is a rich repository of knowledge. I've plumbed through it. You can glean a lot from it. I'd love to call upon Daktari, please come to the podium, and Dr. Thuku as well. A round of applause as we have a session this afternoon with them, and then we'll give you a chance as well to also fire questions, express also your contribution as well. You have your mic. So remember also you have the red button. You can long press it just to check if they are functioning. Just do a mic check 1, 2, 1, 2, so that we can, is it, it's okay. All right, just switch it off. Then when we ask the question, you can now just long press it so that it can be on. I'm a great fan of books, right? And I remember someone saying that, you know, if you have a great library, do you read all those books? Someone asked, and they said, no. But if I just walk across the library room, I feel I'm wise. That's all that I am. That's all that matters. And so it's great to have books in you as part of, you know, the decorations in your house. But I want just to begin with you, David, because I think you've taken the aspect of climate change, which is very key, especially in this epoch of time that we're living in. We can see the devastation, the floods. I mean, things have just gone very awry as far as following the weather patterns is concerned. Here in the country, Kenya, we had very interesting phenomenon with the floods that has never happened in the history of this country. We lost families. Over 200 people died because of the flooding. And so it's with us. And that's why everyone is really talking about sustainability, environment, social governance, which is very key and which is given very much attention. But I wanted to ask, what really inspired you to use the story of the man and the rat? The man and the rat, to illustrate the urgent need for leaders to take action on climate change. And to follow up with that story and the question, how does this parable relate to the current state of climate change and its impact on humanity? It seems you really had an issue with rats, maybe. And so that was a close example that you can tell us. All right, let's begin from there.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dibao. And I circle back that question to the conversations we've been having over the last 2 days.
Yes.
And it's about the story of Africa being told by Africans out there. Africa, we are very good at telling stories, but we may not be very good at telling stories about tough topics like climate change. Our forefathers were better at passing on tough messages and serious messages using stories. And I thought about when Modupe said, let's write together, let's write about something, and climate change was one of them. And it was happening at a time when, as you've mentioned, there's so much happening within that space. And there are very many conference papers and literature about climate change, which doesn't connect with every other person who is reading about climate change. And I thought, what about borrowing from the wisdom of the ancestors and using a story to tell about climate change? And the message that I'm trying to pass across there is that this is an emergency. And we need to know at what point things transition from being business as usual to now being a crisis, which we now need to address as a crisis. The story you talk about and how they two connect is a story which I believe most of us have heard about, of a house that catches fire. And there is a man who has been chasing a rat in the house. And when the house catches fire and the rat runs outside, the man follows the rat outside into the bush, determined to catch up with the rat, but just forgets to realize that an emergency has just happened. His house is on fire. Obviously, when they go to the bush, the rat is going to outsmart him. And guess what? When he goes back to the house, what does he find? Ashes. That's the same thing with climate change today. There is a lot of talk that is happening, but there are still very many people who have not realized that we're in a crisis. Just recently here in Nairobi, we had floods, and many people are used to floods in places where most of us will not experience them. This time, which places were being people using boats in Nairobi? Yes, Runda is an upmarket space. That's where climate change has come. Are we still chasing the rat in the bush as opposed to knowing we are in a crisis? Yeah.
Fantastic, fantastic. All right. You know, I just flipped through book to the first chapter, and I see this, you know, title popping up on me: the tyranny of one. You can see how the tyranny of numbers is stripping off my tongue very easily, because in this country we want to associate tyranny with numbers, and that's many Kenyans will know it's in the public lexicon, where during the elections tyranny of numbers really mattered. Now we have the tyranny of one, and I want just to also just pick your brains as well, Dr. Modupe, on this. What are the consequences for organizations in Africa when founders do not prioritize succession planning and fail to establish independent boards of directors?
Thank you very much, Dibal.
Yeah, that was coming from the depths of the heart. You can see that it was coming slowly.
You know, what is interesting to note is that the very same skills that are necessary to take a business or an organization from 0 to 1 are the same skills that will prevent an organization from going from 2 to 4. You know, quick decision-making, instinctive action, you know, thinking on your feet, acting alone, you know, moving at the speed of light without looking behind, not listening to what the rest of the world is saying, because when you're at 0, you want to go to 1, everybody will tell you, it's impossible, that idea will never work. And so to be a good startup person, you have to be the kind of person that has selective deafness and extreme focus, etc. That's how you get something started. And the reality is most people who are used to being corporate leaders or corporate managers fail at startups because they're so used to consulting everybody. And when you consult about a new business, the evidence is always there that it won't work, because any new business is going against the grain. You're trying to, you know, beat out competition that's bigger than you, has been there longer before, with less capital than they have, and promise salaries to people when you know you don't have money to pay them. But that's what it takes to go from 0 to 1. The problem is that that very same skill is what stops the company, once it's now sort of got customers, etc., from really becoming a corporation, an entity that can outlive and outlast you. And that's why the independent board of directors is so important, because they serve as the guardrails. They are the ones who say, hold on, not so fast. Okay, slow down. We need to consult on this. No longer are you just a nimble startup where you just decide, oh, no, tomorrow we're going to start a new business line. And now, no, we have to consider the risks, etc. And as Dr. Thompson said, you know, you have to succumb to that, which he himself said. He says it led to some really hard conversations. But if you don't do that, then you become a dictator in your company, which is useful when your company only has 2 employees. But when it has 200, you actually become the ceiling above which the company cannot grow. And we see this all over Africa. And in the book, I actually used an illustration that may make some people uncomfortable, a church. How many of us have seen churches where they start up, they're going great, they've been around 20, 30 years, and basically, after a while, you realize as soon as this founder starts to get sick, the church will die. So that's the reason why it's important to have that independent board of directors. And you have to set it up from the start. That's the best time to
From
start
the
it.
beginning.
Because if you wait until you get really successful, your ego won't allow it.
Indeed, indeed. And I like what you said, selective deafness. It just reminds you that also someone said, focus creates blindness, right? A lot we can see. When you're focused, nothing else can really dissuade you. But very important for you to have a board just to take you through the journey. So even if now you're exiting, it is just smooth so that there's no crisis at all. And we've seen this also with many family enterprises here, especially in this country, that they do not really give much premium to corporate governance. And so when there's a turmoil, oh, there are rifts, who should share what, it brings down a whole empire. Such a tragedy. But what you're emphasizing is good. The tyranny of one should not be. All right. Still on the organization, I want to come back to you, David, and ask you if you may, just off the bat from your mind, if you can give us one of the tips, actions that you believe leaders should take at the individual and organizational level or levels to effectively address this emergency that we're talking about, especially climate change, because I know that is your focus. First of all, maybe the better question will be, do you think there is an emergency? Is there a climate change emergency or a climate crisis, so to speak?
Yes, it is actually a crisis as we see it today. Climate change is not one of those things which is a nice to have conversations. It is a must have.
I'm sorry to butt in. Could you just boost Dr. Thuku's mic? You can hear clearly? Or you're struggling? You're struggling. Please boost that particular mic, sound engineer. Or we can change the mic as well.
Change it, I think. Let's try it. Yeah, that works. Can you hear me now? Very good. So, Debal, climate change is already an emergency. It cannot be a conversation that any leader should be taking as business as usual. And you asked of one specific thing that leaders should do. We spoke about taking personal responsibility and taking personal accountability. At whatever level you sit in, think about demystifying climate change at your level. Don't think about what the Ministry of Environment will define climate change to be. Think about, as the CEO of this company, what does climate change mean for me? And keep it very simple so that your employees, everybody can see what that means. And it's always good to start with the visible. Start with the impact of climate change. Talk to them about what they see, because everybody is today seeing an impact of climate change. Whether it's somebody in the village, they are seeing droughts, they are seeing floods in alternating cycles. That's not normal. So start with what is visible. Conceptualize it in a way that people around you understand. In the office, the fact that you could not come to work for 2 days because your road was flooded and you had to use a boat to cross the road. Now, once you get the conceptualization, then think about what are the simple actions, whether that is planting a tree, whether that is using recycling, whatever the effort comes out of that, conceptualize in a way they understand, then as we've talked about in this conference, use them to define the solutions. What can we do about this? What are the possible steps that we can do about this? Involve them. Don't try to do it alone. Make it a conversation. Don't let it be something that only happens when you are doing the annual report. As when you think about climate change, what paragraph can we use in the annual report this year?
The
Demystify it.
sustainability report.
Exactly.
Indeed. Interesting, right? But also with the sustainability report, I think those we have within the sustainability report a lot of greenwashing, because even if, as we consider it right now, we don't have any metrics of auditing the sustainability reports. People now are still grappling to come up with how and make the metrics on how they can audit the sustainability reports. So how do you tell someone that actually is observing then or they're trying to make sure they're mitigating on how they have an impact into the environment? And I think that is our space that we need to consider. How do we come up with also the metrics of sustainability and the auditing of the sustainability report? I wanted to just go to the slave trade before, because I found it very interesting also in the book as well. Yesterday, we had a very interesting conversation in the evening with our panelists, and the story was revolving around slave and slavery, on how still people in the diaspora, they don't want to come back home. And many of them that they went there, they feel like, oh, they cannot come back because life there in the diaspora is good. And we were saying, how are we still shackled with the barnacles of slavery? And even when we sang, how many were here? And we sang a song. Before I go to Modupe and I say, all I ever want is redemption song, emancipate us from the slavery, if you know it. Bob Marley. And this is where now we have also Dr. Mutube coming in. And what parallels then do we, you want me to sing? No. We are in the book launch. This is not a concert. So, Dr. Mutube, the question is, what parallels do you draw between the historical transatlantic slave trade and modern day economic exploitation in Africa? And what lessons are suggested for contemporary African leaders to avoid repeating past mistakes?
Thank you. So nice singing, by the way. Thank you.
Thank you.
This book was written as part of a toolkit for leaders in Africa who are intentional about transforming Africa. And it was really a look into some of the learned behaviors, the cultures, the habits that keep us poor and keep us down. And, if anybody thinks when we talk about slave trade that basically the book was going to blame some Wazungu, you'll be disappointed. Actually, what we realize from history is that the slave trade would never have scaled were it not for the complicity and the collaboration of Africans who sold their brothers into slavery. When the slave trade started, it was at a very, very small level. But for it to scale, okay, the Europeans or the Americans realized that they needed more, and so they needed some business partners. So they engaged some, enterprising Africans with a business proposition that said, listen, here's how you can get rich at the expense of your fellow brothers. Does that sound familiar today? Yeah, that's the parallel, okay? Nobody can buy Africa if an African doesn't sell Africa. Nobody can buy Africa if an African doesn't sell Africa. This is why, as controversial as he is, I subscribe to His Excellency President Paul Kagame, who gave a very stern warning to Rwandans. He said, you cannot betray Rwanda and get away with it. We will get you. It's just a matter of time. Because he understands that nobody can buy Rwanda if a Rwandan doesn't sell Rwanda. And this is part of the message of the book, is that we are where we are because some of us are selling out our continent. So let's not blame the colonialists, the slave traders, or anybody, because even today it is happening. And we need to look in the mirror or look at each other and make sure that we are not the ones who are selling out our brothers and sisters.
Indeed, indeed. So lastly, let's talk about duty of care and spiritual wellness, which is very key because everyone we know, you as a human being, it is not just you, the body, but they always say you're a tripartite being. You have your body, you have a soul, and you have your spirit as well. So spiritual aspect and spiritual self-care is very important. I had someone talking about psychological, what did she call it? Psychological self-care, right? There's a very interesting story about Chifundo Kachale's spiritual health influence and his leadership during the electoral crisis in Malawi. And I'd like you just to expound on that and how sometimes you can cognate spiritual values. I don't know how if they can come together also with politics, election. I know also in this country we infuse religion with election so much, and people could not distinguish or decouple church from now the state, and there has always been a debate about the church as a state, Dr. Ari.
Indeed, I mean, I almost feel like in some ways it's a redundant answer because one of the themes that has happened throughout this conference with most of the speakers is they've all emphasized the importance of faith in God and humility. So we've seen that, okay? But let me give a little bit of background. One of the reasons why I wrote this chapter is because, one, I recognize that your first duty as a leader is to stay alive and healthy. If you're not alive, you're of no use to your constituency. I'm wearing black today because my friend, Dr. Saulos Chilima, is dead today. He died. Now, the sad part is all of his great leadership qualities matter zero today because he's not alive. The same thing if you're not healthy. If you're not in good health, whether that is physical health, mental health, spiritual health, then you're not going to make wise decisions. In which case, once again, in fact, you can actually become a liability to your people. So spiritual health for Chifonde Kachali was very important because I asked him a very specific question. I said, you know, you were in a situation where sitting government basically wants to stay in power. You are the person holding the keys. They're putting pressure on you. There are judges fearing for their lives. You are in charge of the Electoral Commission. God knows how many bribes you've been offered, as well as also how many negative bribes you've been offered. In case you don't know what that is, just ask your neighbor. How did you manage to stand firm? How did you manage to stand for the truth? How did you manage to do what was right when there was so much pressure on you, both positive and negative? And he said, Modupe, I realized that I fear God more than I fear man. He says, that's what made me do the right thing.
A good round of applause. Fantastic, fantastic. And of course, we don't want to tease out everything from the book, otherwise you'll not really buy the book. We were just, appetizing you a bit so that you can buy the book. And by the way, they say, if you don't like someone's story, this is Chinua Achebe. What did he say? If you don't like someone's story, write your own, right? So if you don't want to write your own, it is a Herculean task to write your own book. You can imagine. So you have all the rich repository of knowledge over there. And displayed here as well, we have the modes of payment that you can actually pay. That is going for $50, as you can see, translating to Kenyan shillings, that is 6,600. And right now, we want to do the honor of unveiling the book. If I could just ask our two authors to just walk down there and stand by them, we can immortalize this moment. Where is our photographers? Just to take a Kodak moment there to immortalize, solemnize it, right? So that it is in memoriam as well. This is the time. So even as you do that, I just want to read a synopsis of it because I never did that. I should have done that. Leadership. So about leadership made in Africa. Leadership made in Africa is a collection of leadership articles and perspectives written for practitioners of leadership in Africa, covering leadership success topics like effective communication, emotional intelligence, human capital, coaching, stakeholders, management, and corporate governance. The articles are seasoned with African stories that illustrate the concepts in a manner that enables the reader to understand and apply the concepts in their own sphere of leadership influence. About, of course, BCA leadership, most of you are aware of this, so I'll spare you the details of that. And you know Dr. Modupe Taylor Pierce as well, and his credentials, so I'll spare you from those details to save time. In the meantime, even as they're posing and holding their smiles, you're not flashing white, Dr. Bathuku, right? Yeah, it should be like that for the photos. Yes, fantastic. We want just to make them go around, and our ushers will aid us in doing this so that you get a copy, well-packaged copy. They're all here. They're sufficient. You can pick one. You can pick 10. You can pick 20 for the organization so that they might glean the wisdom that is here. I can see Vice Chancellor, of course, Dr. Vincent Ogutu is here. For Strathmore University, how many copies do you read for Strathmore? Because you have a large constituency of students, so that you can't just pick one, right? I think you can pick around 20, 30, right? So because I know the leadership program there is very robust, yeah? And many other professors who are here are Vincent, and the trainers and the coaches as well, to pass on to the people that you're coaching, that you can share and say, hey, you want to grab a copy. So in the meantime, DJ, where are our ushers? Fantastic. Please make sure you grab the copy. They'll be going around as they give you these copies. So in the meantime, we'll play music so that we can actually kill the dead time there as they get the copies. Right. Or you wanted me to sing the song? We can sing together. I think it's a handy opportunity now to do it. The DJ, oh, you don't want to hear my voice. All right. DJ, okay. Just, okay, let me not comment. DJ, kindly. Kindly display the payment details on your own screen as well. have the first publication, which is the yellow cover, which has the yellow cover. This is an upgrade of it. It has more stories, and you can get rich stream of information from there as well, the updated edition. Ladies and gentlemen, I think this is a moment also we should be bringing it to a close. We've had such a good experience for the last 2 days, and I know all of you have taken a big chunk of wisdom that you'll carry home with to your organizations and also to your employees, that you will deploy or try and implement them in your leadership. I want at this particular time to welcome Honorable Dr. Kipkurui S. Chepkwony. Honorable Dr. Samuel Kipkurui Chepkwony is the Chief Executive Officer of IGRTS, and he boasts over a decade of exemplary service in devolution and governance, formerly the technical lead for intergovernmental affairs at the Executive Office of the President. Dr. Chepkwony consistently champions the principles of devolution and effective governance with distinguished academic background. He graduated with bachelor's degree with honors in biochemistry and molecular biology, a master's in development studies, a master's certificate in business management and leadership, and an honorary PhD in humanities. He embodies a commitment to continuous learning, and Dr. Chepkwony's multifaceted skill sets ranging from development planning to advocacy research, coupled with his commendable leadership roles such as Secretary General of the County Assemblies Forum while serving as MCA Tinderet, Nandi County, positions himself as a pivotal figure for collaborative and impactful governance strategies in intergovernmental relations. Ladies and gentlemen, what an honor. Please put your hands together and make me welcome Daktari. Thank you very much. Karibu.
Oh, thank you very much, Dibal, for that. I didn't anticipate that you will read that out. I work in a space that when your name is called out, you run very fast to save on time. But thank you very much for that. Let me take this opportunity, this late in the afternoon, to say good afternoon to everyone. Good afternoon once again. First of all, I must confess that this is the first time that I'm going to be buying a book in the same sitting with the author. So it's a great privilege, and that will be an honor that you're going to author one of your books that will be in my bookshelf. I want to express my gratitude for this invitation to just share a few reflections on leadership to this special gathering and this convention. When you stand high up here, the question you would ask yourself is, am I worth it? What is it that I know that is not known? But I'm encouraged when I read, there's a paragraph there in the program that I kept reading as I was coming this way. Peer learning sessions. It reads, the point is that you have to be learning from other people all the time so that you can correct what doesn't work. I will tie that up to what you heard about me. I stand here as amongst the youngest CEOs in Kenya Kwanza government. Earlier on, when we were in the breakaway session, four former lawyers, learned colleagues did pronounce and call themselves former lawyers or previously worked in law profession. When Debal was reading my bio, he said, I have a bachelor's in biochemistry and molecular biology. Where do I belong? I should be in the lab. I stand accused for COVID-19. Whether it was man-made, it was just science, then that's where I belong. However, here I am in governance, in leadership. The question would be, where do the two align? So I'll give you a short story. I would want to stand here to be able to encourage the young, my age mates. And of course, there are those who are younger than me. I'm not the oldest of my young generation. And I would also want to stand here to confirm to the seniors here with gray hair that there is hope for what they planted. That whatever they planted in the young is sprouting and is growing. Why do I say this? At 40 years, you're given a position of a CEO of intergovernmental relations. Technically, you're being asked to manage the governments, national government and county governments, 47 of them. You're being invited to manage behaviors, utterances, decisions by 47 governors and a president. Okay, what does that put you through? It throws you into the deep sea. And my boss, the secretary to the cabinet, Masi Wanjao, would give directives of decisions arrived at, expecting implementation without delay, alteration, or failure. The person you're tasking is a former MCA, has done his part to take himself to school. He is a former Secretary General of all the MCAs in this country for 10 years, 5 years as Secretary General and as an executive for 5 years. This is one of the former students of J.K. Watt and a Secretary General of the student organization. So this is a product of chaos. So if I was to reflect on one thing that has shaped my leadership, is the chaos in the environment that I've come through. You are a leader of the students. Debal is my age mate. When Debal sang earlier on, and someone, I think it was one of the panelists, said that was well done. Kenyans seated here know Debal where he came from a challenge in a TV show. And there he is. So what am I saying? 3 things for me. I confirm to you that for one to be the leader, to be a leader, it's a process. And the process that we come through are never the same. But there is only one principle: focus and grit for me. I have not told you the story beyond university, but I choose to focus on this environment that I've come through to be where I am for 3 lessons. One is, like I've said, focus and grit. Being a Secretary General of all the MCs in this country, there are so many issues that are raised and are expected of you. One time, all the MCs in this country, we decided we are not going to school, and we will refuse the implementation of the requirement in the Constitution that for one to contest, you must have a post-secondary education. So, as the Secretary General, who's learned, and at that time, I was just from graduating from my master's, but I'm expected to take the matter to court and speak against the law, refusing that people should not go to school. What would be your choice? Would you choose what is personal or what the people you lead desire? I looked at this. I'm a Christian. I'm an Adventist. So when I went to school to study biochemistry, our lecturers kept reminding us that one of our potential employers is East African Breweries Limited. So would an Adventist work for EABL? Would a master's graduate decline to abide by the law and challenge the implementation of the same? Then I realized I had one thing. I had accepted to take the responsibility as a Secretary General and to do as pertains the position, including challenging the requirement for one to have a post Form 4 education. I took responsibility and agreed to challenge the implementation of that. Was it peaceful for me? No. But then it is the decision that I had made earlier that I needed to stand on. Responsibility. I took responsibility and acted as per the promise that I gave. Lessons learned from that. Of course, there must be a lesson you learn in every step of your life. I learned, always play it out from the start to the end before you start. If I knew that I will be challenged at one time to stand by that, maybe I would have made a better decision. Secondly, fast forward. As a Secretary General, again, there came a decision time. Where do we move post that decision? I can confirm to you here that in Nandi, as an MCA, I have one witness. When I was sworn into office in 2013, there was a Matatu conductor who was elected alongside myself, serving in the same assembly with him, the MCA for Kapsabet. I took it upon myself to challenge him to go to school. As we speak, he has a higher diploma in mechanical engineering. The moral of this is, are you able to change for your best, for your betterment? Reason I chose to take my friend Fred to school was because we are advised to surround ourselves with the best for you to be the best. At that point, Fred was surrounding himself with the best. That is Kipkuru Chepkwony. But was I getting the best of Fred? At that time, no. But what about the future? I would be privileged that my daughter, who's the age mate of the last born of Fred, who would be friends and possibly marry or in the same class, would be a better person than me and the father. That's what I chose. So would we always do things for ourselves or remember what the Bible tells us? When the pastors preach, there are those who will be saved there and then. When the call is made, there are those who will rise and they will be baptized there and then. But then there will be those who will go home and come the following Sabbath and they will be looking for the pastor to baptize them. That was my lesson. As a reflection to this meeting, in the earlier discussion, we had spearheaded by the Secretary of the Cabinet, Mercy. I gave this example. I am born, bred, and raised in the village. I am a Hearts boy. So I want to give these two examples for us to think through. A Hearts boy in the desert. No, I don't come from the desert. Please, I come from Rift Valley. We are blessed. But I'm reflecting using the Hearts boy in the desert who has to herd cows, sheep, and goats. And at the same time, use punda to vary water. Okay, punda is donkey for our friends from Africa. Look at these two. For you to herd mbuzi or goats and cows, you drive them from the back. That was leading from the rear, isn't it? And I asked, that is when they are moving. When you are taking them to the water point, things change. You move from the back, you go to the front, because you have to ensure that every cow or goat gets to drink. That is one example. Second example, as this boy is going home, he collects water, puts on the donkey, and takes the donkey home. Photos are all over that you can imagine. How do you drive a donkey? Is it from behind or from the front? There are those from the front which are attacked by a rope. And there are those who are driven from behind. If you are an African like all of us, what would be your interpretation of the two? The one being attacked by a rope and the one that is being driven from the rear. An African will tell you outrightly, the one that is being driven from the front, being attacked by the rope, is the one that kicks outrightly. Dangerous to be at its rear. But is it true? is the perception. What am I trying to say? I want to confirm the discussion that we had in that breakaway group, that situations change, and so you must change with the times. For me to have been able to progress from being an MCA to an advisor in the office of the president, and now the CEO of IGRTC, there are only three things that was required of me. One is what every leader must always do: personal development. Always focus on developing yourself. One of the panelists earlier on said, if you are not healthy, why would we have your story? You'll be an obituary. If you don't develop yourself progressively, then you will not be ripe when the season is right. My colleagues who I was with in the county assemblies, most of them were in comfort zone. And we had all the time to do either business, go to school, or serve the people. I served my people, I did business, and I went to school. So when the season was right, when Mercy and the Kenya Kwanza leadership were making their applications, I was there making my application. To qualify, I qualified. I said, I will challenge. Standing here is to challenge my young generation. That develop yourself, continually capacity build yourself, train yourself, and the season will be right when you are rightly there. Secondly, we are told of the story of your environment, the people you keep, the company you keep, the coaches we have here, the mentors. I choose to confirm that be a mentor, be mentored, have a mentor. I went through a training course 3 years into my second term. I have mentors. And you have to have the right mentor for the right job. Today, Dr. Duku, if you are looking for direction to go to Tinderet, and you have 4 people before you, you're told this is someone from the Rift Valley, this is someone from Northeastern, this is from Coast. Who would you choose to give you direction? From Rift Valley. Because whether you know he knows, the assumption is he knows. I picked the right mentors because I knew the direction that I went to go. I invite all of you to continue mentoring the young leaders within your reach and the young leaders in this hall to accept to be mentored. Finally, because I have seen the ball rise, I was just invited to just give a reflection of all this. Is integrity. Be trusted, learn to be trustworthy, be humble, and focus. My wife tells me, Debal, how many birds and how many animals are mentioned in the Bible? Very few birds. But there is a bird that is called an eagle. that is mentioned in the Bible. And the eagle, the story of the eagle, is known to all of us. If we stay focused in whatever industry you are in, success will always be there for you. I stand here at 40 years, and I joke that I celebrated my 40th birthday with a call for this job offer that I am serving in. Because I have learned the ropes through focus, staying trusted, either with your friends, your associates, or even your team. I wish to conclude by saying this. I'm standing here, I'm looking at very senior government officials, people who have been in the industry. Martin there, Dr. Martin there, and you're like, okay, these are the people who we read about when we were in the university. We saw, we read about the impact in the industries. It then means open the door. We are not talking Kenya, we are talking Africa, because we want to impact beyond Africa. When I had the discussion and the introduction in the previous breakaway session, I told one of my colleagues there, it then means there is a place for those of us who are young in leadership. In the next 10 or 15 years, I shall find a space to be a member and a coach in BCA. The Lord bless you and enjoy the evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Daktari. Thanks. A round of applause for him. And you can always tell a politician, right? A politician remains a politician. Once they have the mic, you have to come there, right? And tell them, right? But another thing I've picked as well, since he says, it's a product of chaos, you'll wonder what thesis was Dr. Kirui's thesis. What was the thesis about? Can I tell you? Chaos theory. For them that are actually intimately familiar with the chaos theory. Anyway, we want to bring it to a close. And I've always talked about going together, flowing together. It is H.U. Lecoq who said, you cannot, I remind you again, whistle a symphony. It takes a whole orchestra to play that symphony. And right now I want to invite Catherine Musakali to come to the stage, board member of BCA Leadership, to take the honors and of course tell us who are playing all these instruments, the tuba, the saxophone, to play all this orchestra that is, we're coming to a crescendo right now, the music.
Absolutely. Thank you very, very much, Dibal. How is everybody feeling? What does that mean? Inspired. Any other word? Motivated. Any other? Energized. One last one. This side of the room is a bit quiet. What? Hopeful. Hope. There is hope for Africa. Isn't there? There is hope for Africa. I stand here with a heart full of gratitude. Gratitude to the partners who have made this happen. And yesterday, we were reminded about going back to some of the cultural practices that we used to have in Africa. Some of the sayings, some of the pieces of wisdom we used to have. And I'm reminded of one that is often thrown around in my village, and I'm sure also in yours, because I don't think it's only mine that has bed bugs. And it says that one finger cannot do what? Cannot kill a bed bug or lice or whatever it is. And so there is no way that we at BCA could have put this conference together without the partners that I'm going to mention. And I want to invite all the partners to keep working with us. But most importantly, I want to invite each and every one of you in this room to go out there and to make a difference. Because together we create a movement, don't we? Together we create a movement. Together we make sure that Africa is getting to where it ought to. So please go out there and just make, even if it's one small change, one small difference. Remember, which bird was that? Wangari Maathai, the hummingbird. So I trust that each one of us, filled with hope, filled with inspiration, is going out there to make a difference. So let me recognize our partners for MLC 2024. And the first partner that I would love to recognize is Strathmore University. Thank you so much, Dr. Ogutu and your team. When we had the press launch earlier this year, we went to Strathmore University and we were received and we felt very much at home. And Dr. Ogutu shared with us the journey of innovation, the journey of ethical leadership at Strathmore University, and we were inspired. Thank you, and we do hope that you will continue working with us. The second partner that I would like to recognize is Kenya Private Sector Alliance. Can we clap for Kenya Private Sector Alliance? And I have a dream that one day, soon, we're not just going to have a Kenya Private Sector Alliance, but we're going to have, guess what? Africa Sector Alliance, right? Can we make it happen? Yes, we can, right? Hey, there's no energy in this room. What's happening? I feel like I'm dancing alone. Kenya Private Sector Alliance. And we want to sincerely thank Kenya Private Sector Alliance for mobilizing the private sector community here in Kenya to attend the MLC 2024. Let's give them a round of applause. The third partner that we want to thank sincerely is the Institute of Human Resource. Are they in the room? Let's start. Irene, thank you so much. And the Institute, IHRM as they are known, mobilized their members to attend the conference. Thank you for doing that. Is Kepsa in the room, by the way? Not me, not Flo. Is Kepsa in the room? Okay. Are we giving? Thank you very much. I am guided, and I would like to invite onto the stage Mr. Wilbins Short to come and give a token of appreciation to Strathmore University. Please come. Thank you. So you have to clap until the token has been given, right? Dr. Ogutu, thank you so much. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you. Let's do this again in 2025, right? Thank you very, very much. Appreciated. Next, I would love to call Andrina to come and give a token of appreciation to KEPSA. KEPSA, who is representing KEPSA, please come up and receive a token of appreciation. Flora, may I please request you to receive our token on behalf of KEPSA? Flora is the immediate past chair of KEPSA. She's still on the board. Thank you. Thank you very, very much. Thank you most sincerely. Thank you. Let's do this in 2025. IHRM, Irene, please come forward. And I want to invite Dr. Modupe to come and give our token of appreciation to Irene, IHRM. Thank you so much. You see, people make Africa move. And that's why IHRM is such a great partner for us. Thank you so much. Charity, I know your leg is not doing too well, so I will not ask you to stand up. Next, I want to thank most sincerely Emerging Leaders Foundation, ELF, led by Karen Wakoli and her team. The young people that you've been seeing out there, including those who are rapporteuring this morning, are from Emerging Leaders Foundation. Thank you so much. Please come and receive a token of appreciation on our behalf. And I would like to invite David to come and appreciate ELF. Thank you so much. Let's give them an innovative clap. Yeah? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. The future of Africa is bright, isn't it? Or should we say Africa has a future? Africa has a future. Thank you, ELF team, Emerging Leaders Foundation, for being our partner, and we look forward to working with you in the future. We also want to thank Melvin's Tea. Flora, how many people in the room tasted the Melvin's Tea? Okay, how many people in the room are taking home some boxes of Melvin's Tea? Absolutely, Flora, we are so proud of you. Flora is the founder, owner of Melvin's Tea, and on behalf of BCA, I would like to invite Anne Wangondu to come and appreciate Flora on our behalf. Anne, thank you. Oh my goodness, this is just who Flora is. And she's saying, each one of us should have gotten at least one pack of Melvin's tea. And if you have not got your pack, please let us know and you'll get your pack. Thank you. This is the spirit of Africa, isn't it? This is the spirit of Africa. Thank you so much, Flora, for supporting us. We look forward to working with you again in 2025. And then we have sponsors. We had institutions, organizations who sponsored this event. And the first one is Snow Trading. Snow Trading, who sponsored MLC last year, but were unavailable to receive our gift last year. Thank you so much, and we look forward to working with you again next year. And on behalf of BCA, I would like to invite Sam to come and appreciate them. Sam, please come and appreciate them on our behalf. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Let's keep clapping for them. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciated. Oh, nice photo. Thank you. Asante sana. The next sponsor that we want to appreciate is GrowthPad Digital Consulting. And GrowthPad Digital Consulting supported us with the audio visuals. Did you not enjoy the audio visuals? Thank you. Let's appreciate them. May we ask a representative of GrowthPad Digital to come forward as I request Martin to appreciate them on our behalf. Martin, please appreciate. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you, Mercy Wanjau, Secretary to the Cabinet. You're coming back? Ah, thank you. Great. Thank you very much. On behalf of BCA, GrowthPad, yes, you represented them. Please make sure that it doesn't get to Sierra Leone. It gets to them. We also had a cash sponsor, NMB Bank. Thank you for your support, NMB Bank, for supporting us. And we have a representative from NMB Bank. Sarah Jessie, would you like to come and appreciate them? Thank you very much. Thank you for sponsoring us, and we look forward to working with you again next year. There's enough money in the bank, right? There's a lot. You heard it. So Africa has a lot of money in that bank. Thank you very much. The other sponsor that we would like to appreciate is Metro Cable Vault, that also sponsored us in cash. Thank you so much. Mbithe, are you here? Please come and appreciate them. Thank you very much. Mbithe is here. Let's clap for them. Thank you. Thank you very much for supporting us. Asante sana, as we say here in Kenya. Wow. Thank you. Mbithe, I'm going to ask you to stay there. And the reason I'm going to ask you to stay there is because you worked at Kenya Airways. And I want you to appreciate your former employer for us, for supporting us, not just last year, but also this year. So Kenya Airways, let's clap for Kenya Airways. Do we have a representative in the room? Thank you, thank you, thank you. I have a dream that one day in Africa, we shall have one big airline. Thank you. Appreciated. Thank you so much. Last but not least, we want to appreciate Global Integrated FinTech Solutions, who are a cash sponsor for us. And this one, I am going to ask Dr. Modupe, because you're very close here, to come and appreciate them on our behalf. Thank you so much for all the support. Thank you. Thank you. 2025, here we come. And I'm hoping that we'll work with our sponsors again, with our partners again. The last person I want to appreciate, this person is very special to us, very special to us. Without this person, this conference would not have happened. This person has been very patient with us, has sat through, has taken a lot on board, and has promised to implement even just one lesson from what they have learned. Guess who that person is? Who is that? Which person? Who? So can you appreciate yourself, please? Thank you. Thank you. You have made this conference what it was, right? What it has been, right? And so we want to thank each and every one of you for being here, for contributing your knowledge, and for agreeing to come again in 2025 so that we make Africa great.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you finished?
No.
We-
Why are you taking my space?
Because we are not the last persons that we're going to recognize.
Yes, because I have not appreciated charity.
But before we appreciate charity,
Okay. All right.
I'm making an executive decision. We are going to appreciate somebody who does not like to be put up front for appreciation. She has been tireless. Her company has been an absolute rock of a partner. She leads Dorian and Associates. You see why I had to interrupt, eh? She didn't see this one coming. Ladies and gentlemen, Catherine Musakali. To ask Wilbert to present this Dorian and Associates and Catherine Musakali. She has been our rock in Kenya. And there's more. You see, we have been told that we have to give brown envelopes in Kenya. Just, it's okay. These are hardcover. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you, DJ. So the final presentation is for somebody who has been the chair of our board at BCA. And I'm going to ask all of the board members to stand here as we appreciate her. From the year 2020, some of you remember when Alan Kilavuka was saying that he took over in 2020 on the day that COVID was declared, eh? And no, he wasn't complaining, he just said it. Well, Charity just smiled because she took over the leadership of the board in 2020, just a few months before COVID came out, and she led the board of BCA through the COVID period, which, if you can imagine the nature of our business, that was the most challenging time. There is no way we can say enough thank you to her. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to ask you to join me in embarrassing Charity Lumpa. Stand up and clap for her as she makes her way to the stage. Madam Charity Chanda Lumpa. And I'm going to ask Catherine Musakali to actually present it to Charity. As a token of our appreciation, and we hope it will not make you overweight on Kenya Airways. But if you are, we do have connections. We know people. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Charity Lumpa. And now I'm going to call on our vice chair, Mr. Wilben Short, to give some closing comments. Mr. Wilben Short.
Wow. 2 long days because it's been so good. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to help me for just 60 seconds by closing your eyes. I want you to imagine yourself being lifted up higher and higher and higher until you can see this African continent of ours. 54 countries, 1.5 billion people. And you see today the stories that get told about young men and women boarding boats, risky boats going through the Mediterranean in search of the golden streets of Europe and America and drowning in the sea. You see stories being told of a war in Sudan where kindred people fight each other and kill. Stories being told of corruption and all sorts of things. And I want you to also see that picture evolve into a nation of 55 countries still, but they have one airline. They have one currency. They have many people who get regularly nominated for Nobel Prizes. They have lots of people actually coming in the opposite direction from Europe and America, not to come and exploit the natural resources, but to come and learn from some of the best companies in the world who are led by Africans. I want you to imagine many, many young people from Asia and from America who come to Africa, to the universities and colleges, because they know that's where they can get the best education. And now I want you to open your eyes. And as you open your eyes, you are faced with the reality, your own personal reality of today, and many of the challenges which all of us face. That's the reality. But what MLC and BCA does is to make that connection between the hope for Africa and your personal responsibility. And that's what all these 2 days have been about. Making that connection between a vision of an amazing continent, for which it really does have the potential, and our personal responsibility. As Mandela would say, it seems impossible until it is done. Can we repeat that? It seems impossible until it is done. I'm not going to go through all of the different event programs of the last couple of days, but just want to pick up a couple of things that really, really have resonated and impacted me. Starting with Antifatu, our opening conversation, who said to us, yes, it is true that this conference is about making Africa work for Africans, but I love the way she flipped it around and said, it is also about making Africans work for Africa. And MLC is also about making Africans work for Africa. I was very excited also by the last peer learning session I was at, where I learned that the Kenyan cabinet is now a paperless cabinet. Now, why do you think a simple fact like that excites me? It tells me that one of the biggest and most influential governments of Africa is taking technology seriously to the extent where it is even making it mandatory that all of its cabinet and the people who are around will work with the changes that are taking place in the world, which bring great efficiency and make better use of our resources. I look forward to the day when this is being said about many, many other nations. If there was another thing at this conference that really resonated with me, it was Carol Wakoli and the emerging youth leaders. Because if BCA and we are to achieve our dream, we have to engage with the young and ask the young how they can change the young. And that really excites me. So do the site visits. Whichever one you went to, it was a story of innovation. It was a story of fresh thinking. It was a story of commitment, of vision being brought into reality. I charge every one of you who went to any of those visits, be the storyteller. Spread the news. Let people know that so much is happening that is great in Africa, because only then will we have the motivation and the commitment to continue on what is not an easy journey. I'll go again to Mandela for my final quote. Because actually, if you go around the world today, in our generation, well, in our time, in our century, and you ask any people, say, who's the greatest leader you've ever heard of? I bet you most of them are going to come up with Nelson Mandela. And guess what? Where does he come from? Africa. So as challenging as your dream was when you closed your eyes, and as difficult as the journey is, first of all, he said to us that it is impossible until it's done. But he also said something else. And can we repeat that together? A winner is a dreamer who never gives up. Ladies and gentlemen, every one of you is a winner if you never give up. I ask you, what is your next bold step or bold decision that you are going to take as a result of this? You know, vision without implementation is a pipe dream. That's another of Mandela's statements. What actions are you going to take as a result of these 2 days? I can share one of mine with you. That young man, Joe, from Emerging Leaders, he called me outside yesterday and said, actually, I want you to be my mentor. And he really didn't leave me with any option but to say yes. I mean, how can I say no when I've been parroting all of what I've been parroting over the last 2 days? So he has a mentor. Ladies and gentlemen, bold actions, bold decisions. Every one of us has a part to play. It seems impossible until it happens.
Thank you, Mr. Short. Thank you very much. Before I hand over to the MC who is going to organize us for pictures, I want to make sure that we recognize our Kenya coaches and the staff that has put together this conference. So if you are part of the BCA coaches in Kenya, I want you to stand up and be recognized. Hello, just in case they are, and I'm talking about Dr. Martin Oduor-Otieno, Madam Flora Mutahi, Dr. David Tuku, Anne Wangondu, Mbithe Nzanya, Enyima Okondi, Susan Banda Mudiwa. That's right, that's right. Thank you very much. All of you who are based in Kenya, this is the caliber of coaches we have. So if any of you does not have a coach, you are wrong. You need to get a coach. We run a monthly cohort meetings, peer learning, so that you can be part of that. Please see any of those coaches for more information about how you can join and be part of that learning environment. Please give them another round of applause. I'd also like the team that has been behind the scenes. You know, this whole thing cannot happen without people that are making sure that the little things are being done. And I'm going to call their names. I want them all to stand up. Please, Maya, stand up. Maya, where are you? Chara, Claudia, Joy, Abeye, Francisca, and Mercy. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a, give them a round of applause. Give them a round of applause, please. Without them, there would be no conference. And I would be remiss if we did not recognize the tireless. These people have probably only slept an average of 4 hours per night for the last 3 nights. And I think that they deserve a huge thank you. So I'm going to ask you, on 3, we're all going to say thank you. 1, 2, 3. Amen. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for me to hand over to our MC. Thank you very much. We're going to take some final pictures and then he will dismiss us.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Wow. Coming to the close of it. And this is what we want to solemnize the moment. I know with so many, and I will want us to just invite, first of all, the board members in front. And this is a group photo. I think we can, right? That's why we'll remove this podium so that we can have that solemn moment. So that at least you can take a picture with you and say, I was in Kenya for the MLC 2024. And this is the picture, right? So kindly the board members will stand in front, and the Kenyan coaches as well. And then we'll have everybody else, right? The photographer can guide us. We'll all fit on the stage. Okay? All right? And the Kenyan coaches, please. Dr. Martin, the Kenyan coaches, please be in front here. Fantastic. And the rest of us, we can come and snugly fit wherever you can, right? The tallest will be behind because we can see your head bobbing, where the shortest at least can be in front. Please come and squeeze yourself. We take this moment. Please don't miss out on this, right? Let's come, let's redeem time. This is the last thing on the item, then we close. All right, find your way, find your way, find your way, find your way. Fantastic. All right. I want to call upon Catherine. Catherine, where are you? Still in that mood? Can you come and give us some, the Hypermaster Catherine, we dance a beat. Jerusalem is here, we close. Where is Catherine? It's you. No, are you the Hype Master? You know the Hype Master. Catherine, Catherine, oh, you are shocked. No, there's another Catherine. Where is Catherine? Huh? The Hype Master. Why? Catherine, where are you? Where is she? Catherine? Oh, she's here. Catherine. I was told you're the one who's here. You're the Hype Master, Jerusalem.
Okay, music. Ah. Okay. We're having a close-out dance, so you all follow me and follow my moves. Yes. Are you ready? Yes. Wilburn, join the train. Music louder. Yes. Okay, they are leaving. There we go. Oh, yeah.
All right, looks. Everybody join the groove here. Yeah. Mm. Yeah. Mm. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. A round of applause. Thank you. Thank you, DJ. Wow. What a conference. So, as we're winding up, I just want to leave you with a wise saying, ladies and gentlemen, listen up as we're winding up. Listen up. I want to thank you so very much for being amazingly patient and also engagingly being there in the sessions that you've been, the learning that you've done. And one thing that we should be reminded is the fact that you are one, but you can make a difference. Anita Roddick say, if you think you are too small to make a difference, then you haven't been to bed with a mosquito. Because mosquito can make a nuisance in that particular blanket that you're in. And so mine is to encourage you. You're one. One tree can start a forest. One smile can begin a friendship. One hand can lift a soul. One word can frame the goal. One candle can wipe out darkness. One laugh can conquer gloom. One hope can raise your spirits. One touch can show you care. One life can make a difference. And you are that one life. Go and make a difference. We bring this to a close. The MLC 2024. We've thoroughly enjoyed you being in this country. Make sure you visit the national park and take care as well. And we also want your feedback. You can scan here and give us your feedback as well. We really appreciate on how we can improve even the next conference and make it better for your own pleasure and learning as well. And if you go to the national park, please don't be left behind inside the lion's stomach. Take care.
And Deval, you're the unsung hero of the 2 days. Please, before they walk out, can we give it up for Deval? Yeah, you're the man. Thank you so much.